This is what I do for cinematic sequences. So about 99% of the time, all the footage from my SL2 is filmed using the kit lens, which is the 1855 STM kit lens. So it's absolutely great, you know, it's nice and wide like this, and it goes in to pretty good detail. And this is an f4 lens, so it's not the fastest, but also does have a nice decent aperture, and it's a kit lens, so you can't really expect a lot. But it's actually a really good kit lens, considering the fact that kit lenses don't have that good of a reputation in the world because, you know, they're cheap, they come with a camera, you know, you want to buy more professional glass. And that's still true, but kit lenses are getting very, very good, and this is one of those examples of how good a kit lens can actually get. And now lenses is probably one of the most important parts of getting a good image out of your camera, as I've talked about in past videos. It's what the light passes through, so people judge how good a lens is based on the clarity of the image it produces. And this lens right here is definitely a great lens, and considering the fact it's a kit lens is even better. Because as I said downstairs, kit lenses don't have the best reputation, and past kit lenses have actually been really, really bad. But this one focuses incredible. It has manual focus too, so I can pop in the manual focus and do all that type of fancy stuff. I like to use autofocus though, but yeah, that's that. And now the biggest downside of kit lenses is that they're still made out of plastic, but the plastic is definitely getting a lot better throughout the years. And also, they're not the fastest lens. Like, this only goes down to f4, when most people refer to more of an acceptable aperture from 2.8 down. And because we're on a crop censored camera, it's not the widest lens. I mean, it's about 28 millimeters approximately. It works. I kind of have to hold my arm out far if I'm vlogging, but I'm probably maybe 1.5 feet from the camera right now. And even without really a fast lens, you can still see there's some depth of field back. But that's mainly the sensor, because it's such a good sensor in this camera. And the lens definitely does help. But if I had a faster lens, that background would be completely gone. It would look incredible. And most kit lenses nowadays do have image stabilization, like this one does. That helps a lot for smoothing out footage, especially when I'm shooting those cinematic shots. It isn't the greatest thing, but it's definitely something there, considering the fact this camera doesn't have any IBIS, so that image stabilization definitely does help. And plus, these kit lenses, the one that came with this SL2, which is already a really small camera, this lens is tiny. Like, I take it off the camera and it literally looks like a mirrorless camera lens, like the Canon M50. Now that's even a tinier camera, but just the fact that this lens is comparable to a tiny mirrorless camera by Canon is crazy. And it still has really good range. Like I said, it goes to 55 millimeters, so that's extremely well. It goes from 18 to 55. So why do these kit lenses have a bad reputation? That's because a lot of them have come where they don't really focus a lot. Like my dad has a kit lens, the 18 to 135 he got. It was refurbished and it has a really hard time focusing. It's not the camera body, because if you slap a different lens on the T6S, it works extremely well, it focuses well. It's just that kit lens that he got refurbished. Now that could be a flaw in the refurbishing process, but I've also seen many articles about those lenses failing and focusing. But this kit lens here is absolutely incredible. It's definitely something that's great if you're just starting out, and it'll do the job until you have the income to buy a more expensive lens. Like currently I'm saving for the Canon 17 to 55 f2.8, so it's a very similar range to this lens. It was that tiny bit wide, and it has a much faster aperture. And that lens also has image stabilization and all the fancy focusing systems and stuff. And it's still an EFS lens, so it's relatively cheap compared to full frame lenses. And obviously that lens is going to be a lot bigger and heavier because one, it's actual glass, and two, they have to fit that big old aperture in this lens. So that lens probably won't be the best for vlogging just because it'll be so much heavier. But it'll work extremely well for cinematic shots just because you can get that nice shallow depth of field. And let's be real here, by then I want to buy an ND filter so I can open up that aperture outside. I'll probably still use it for vlogging just because it would look absolutely incredible. That's pretty much it for me, guys. Kind of a random video just talking about kit lenses and stuff like that in general, because that's something that's always kind of fascinated me. And I know that this kit lens, as I said 100 times, is absolutely incredible. But thank you all for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.